Franklin grew up falling asleep to sirens, helicopters, and arguments that seeped through thin apartment walls in South Central Los Angeles. His mother worked 2 jobs, his father disappeared early, and poverty clung to him like dust that never fully washed off. As a boy, Franklin learned quickly that hope was dangerous, but hunger was worse. Every empty fridge hardened something inside him. One night, after watching his mother cry quietly at the kitchen table, Franklin made a promise that felt sacred. He would never be poor again. Not ever. That vow became his religion, shaping how he studied, how he fought, how he dreamed. Love, rest, and softness felt like luxuries meant for other people. School was not a sanctuary, but Franklin treated it like a battlefield. While others drifted, he focused with ruthless intent. Teachers noticed his discipline, mistaking it for talent. They didn't see fear driving every late night and clenched jaw. Franklin skipped parties and friendships. Hunger sharpened him, turned him efficient. Each small success confirmed his belief that survival required sacrifice. He didn't yet realize he was training himself to endure pressure, not happiness. A scholarship took Franklin out of South Central and into a polished university world that felt unreal. Dorm rooms were quiet. Refrigerators were full. People spoke about vacations and futures without flinching. Franklin smiled but never relaxed. He worked harder than anyone, terrified that comfort was temporary. He didn't belong here, he told himself, unless he earned it every single day. Internships led to job offers. Job offers led to promotions. Franklin moved fast, climbing corporate ladders like escape routes. Money arrived, then stability, then prestige. Yet peace never followed. Each achievement only raised the bar higher. Rest felt dangerous, like falling asleep on a freeway. Vanessa was smart, elegant, and calm in ways Franklin admired. She came from a middle-class background, unscarred by survival panic. He liked his ambition. He liked her steadiness. Their dates were efficient, scheduled between meetings. Love grew quietly, not deeply but comfortably enough. Franklin proposed because it made sense. He had the ring, the apartment, the timeline. Marriage felt like the final proof that he'd made it. The wedding was beautiful. Franklin smiled for photos, proud, but oddly tense, as if completing a task rather than beginning a refuge. Franklin threw himself into providing. Bigger house. Better neighborhood. Financial security became his language of love. Vanessa appreciated it, but sometimes watched him from across the room, sensing a distance she couldn't name. Work followed Franklin home. Emails replaced conversations. Silence filled spaces where intimacy might have grown. Franklin told himself this was normal. This was what winning looked like. Arguments were rare but heavy. Vanessa wanted presence. Franklin offered solutions. Neither felt understood. At night, Franklin lay awake, heart racing, unsure why success felt so exhausting. Franklin realized something unsettling. He was no longer running toward anything, only away from poverty. The fear that once saved him now owned him. Marriage, wealth, and status surrounded him, yet none felt like rest. And for the first time, Franklin wondered what his promise had truly cost. The new house was everything Franklin once dreamed of. Quiet street, manicured lawn, rooms that echoed. Yet sleep never came easily there. At night, Franklin wandered from room to room, checking doors, windows, bank apps, alarms. Vanessa noticed how the house felt less like a home and more like a checkpoint. Franklin was always on guard, as if poverty might break in through the walls if he relaxed for even a moment. Franklin trusted numbers more than people. Spreadsheets made sense. Growth projections reassured him. Emotions, on the other hand, felt unpredictable and unsafe. When Vanessa tried to talk about loneliness, Franklin responded with plans. Vacations, renovations, solutions. He didn't hear the quiet plea beneath her words. A work trip took Franklin back through South Central. The streets hadn't changed much. Liquor stores still glowed on corners. Sirens still sang at night. Something twisted in his chest. Not pride, not shame, but recognition. He realized the boy who lived here never stopped running. He had just learned to run in nicer shoes. Franklin earned another promotion, one others openly envied. Vanessa congratulated him, smiling sincerely, but later that night she cried alone in the bathroom. Franklin didn't notice. He was already calculating the next step, the next threat, the next never again. Vanessa began to withdraw. She stopped asking questions Franklin never answered. Silence became safer than disappointment. Franklin sensed the distance but treated it like temporary turbulence. Everything he believed could be fixed later, after the next milestone. At a company celebration, Franklin stood surrounded by applause. Colleagues praised his story, calling it inspirational. Franklin smiled politely, feeling hollow. The applause faded quickly. The pressure stayed. One evening, Vanessa finally asked, "When do we get to breathe?" Franklin didn't know how to answer. Breathing had never been part of the plan. Franklin was tired from carrying everything. Vanessa was tired from carrying nothing with him. They lay in bed facing opposite walls, both awake, both lonely in different ways. Small resentments hardened. Missed dinners. Cancelled weekends. Franklin believed sacrifice was love. Vanessa began to believe love shouldn't feel like absence. Franklin realized his marriage felt like another obligation. Important, serious, managed, but never restful. He had built a life strong enough to survive anything except emotional truth. And deep down he feared stopping. Because if he stopped running, he might finally feel everything he'd buried. The argument didn't start loudly. It began with a missed anniversary dinner and a tired apology. Vanessa's voice shook as she spoke, not from anger but exhaustion. Franklin responded with logic, deadlines, pressure, responsibility. When Vanessa asked why he never chose her, he fell silent. No answer felt safe. Vanessa told Franklin she felt married to a mission, not a man. The words struck him days later, replaying during meetings and traffic jams. He wondered when love became something he managed instead of felt. Franklin threw himself deeper into work. Long hours felt familiar, comforting even. Loneliness, after all, had always been survivable. But now it followed him into every room, richer and heavier than before. Vanessa suggested therapy. Franklin resisted, then agreed out of obligation. Sitting across from a stranger, he struggled to describe feelings he never learned to name. The therapist asked about his childhood. Franklin laughed it off, until his throat tightened without warning. For the first time, Franklin said it out loud. "I'm scared of being poor again." The room went quiet. Vanessa's eyes filled with understanding and sadness. She realized she had been competing with a fear older than their love. Therapy opened doors Franklin didn't know how to walk through. Some days he tried. Other days he shut down completely. Vanessa grew hopeful, then cautious. Healing, she learned, wasn't guaranteed. Franklin noticed how tightly he controlled everything. Money, schedules, outcomes. Letting go felt like danger. The therapist asked what he'd lose if he loosened his grip. Franklin had no answer, only dread. Vanessa began to imagine life without waiting. The thought scared her, then relieved her. She loved Franklin. But love, she realized, could grow tired of begging for space. One evening, Franklin came home early. They talked. Really talked. For a moment it felt possible. But habits returned quickly. Old reflexes reclaimed him. Franklin sensed the marriage slipping, not suddenly but steadily. Success had taught him how to build. Never taught him how to stay. Vanessa didn't announce her decision right away. She moved slowly, carefully, as if giving the marriage one last chance to breathe. Franklin noticed the change but misread it as stability. In truth, Vanessa was preparing herself for an ending she never wanted but could no longer avoid. Franklin accepted more responsibility at work, grateful for the distraction. Meetings felt safer than emotions. Deadlines didn't ask for vulnerability. Success continued to reward him, even as his personal life thinned quietly at the edges. One morning, Franklin found a note beside the coffee machine. Vanessa had gone to stay with her sister. No accusations. No blame. Just honesty. Franklin stood there longer than necessary, feeling something crack without making a sound. The house changed immediately. Furniture felt misplaced. Silence grew heavier. Franklin kept busy, but nights stretched endlessly. The success he built offered no comfort, only reminders of what he hadn't protected. The divorce was civil, efficient, painfully polite. Lawyers praised their cooperation. Franklin signed papers with steady hands, wondering when marriage had become another contract he failed to manage. Friends congratulated Franklin on landing on his feet. He nodded, smiling. Inside he felt suspended, untethered by loss he didn't know how to grieve. Franklin drove through South Central one evening without a destination. The streets felt smaller now, but no less powerful. He parked and sat in silence, remembering the boy who swore never to come back. For the first time, Franklin allowed himself to feel tired, not physically but spiritually. He had outrun poverty but not fear. The realization settled heavily. Survival had become his identity. Franklin reduced his hours. The quiet unsettled him. Without constant motion, old memories surfaced. Yet something else appeared too, a fragile sense of relief. Franklin began mentoring kids from neighborhoods like his. He didn't talk about money, only choices, pressure, and cost. For the first time, his past felt like something other than fuel. Franklin found the kids asked questions adults never did. They wanted to know if success hurt, if fear ever left, if money fixed loneliness. He answered honestly. Each conversation stripped away a little armor he no longer needed. Watching the kids reminded Franklin of paths not taken. Friends lost, relationships neglected, emotions postponed. He began to understand that ambition had protected him, but also isolated him. Franklin ran into Vanessa by chance at a bookstore. She looked lighter, calmer. They talked gently without urgency. Franklin realized he had loved her sincerely, just not skillfully. Franklin apologized without asking for reconciliation. Vanessa accepted it without offering return. The exchange was painful and freeing. Franklin sold the big house. Downsized. Simplified. Each step felt like exhaling. For the first time, money stopped being proof of safety and became a tool instead. Evenings were still quiet but no longer hostile. Franklin learned to sit with himself without distraction. Loneliness remained, but it no longer felt like punishment. In therapy, Franklin saw himself clearly. A man shaped by fear who mistook endurance for strength. Understanding didn't erase regret, but it softened it. Franklin invested in community programs back home, not to escape guilt but to stay present. This time he didn't rush away once things got uncomfortable. Franklin dated briefly, carefully. He was honest about his limits. Love, he learned, wasn't something to conquer. It was something to tend. Franklin stood on a balcony one evening watching the city glow. He felt neither triumphant nor defeated. Just awake. Franklin visited his mother's old apartment building, now worn and quiet. He stood outside longer than expected, imagining the boy who once stared at the ceiling at night, afraid of tomorrow. For the first time, Franklin felt compassion for that boy. Not urgency, not pressure. Just understanding. Franklin realized his childhood promise had been incomplete. Never be poor again had kept him alive, but it had never taught him how to live. He rewrote it quietly. Never be afraid to feel again. Franklin stayed successful but no longer frantic. He declined opportunities that cost too much internally. Ambition still lived in him, just no longer in control. He formed a gentle connection with someone new. Honest. Unrushed. Imperfect. It didn't erase the past, but it didn't compete with fear either. Some nights Franklin thought of Vanessa, not with regret but respect. Their marriage had been real, even if it couldn't survive who he was then. Loss, he learned, could coexist with gratitude. Franklin spoke at schools, telling his full story, not just the climb but the cost. Students listened closely. He hoped they heard the part he once missed. Peace arrived unexpectedly, not as a reward but as acceptance. Franklin stopped trying to justify his life and started inhabiting it. He could now look back at South Central without flinching. The past no longer chased him. It walked beside him, quieter, honest. Franklin knew fulfillment wasn't a destination. Some things would always ache, but ache no longer meant failure. Franklin never became poor again. He also never became who he thought success would make him. Standing in the life he built, changed, imperfect, awake. Franklin understood at last. He had won something harder than money. He had learned how to stay.